New Jersey Governor Chris Christie has joined what seems like a cast of thousands running for the Republican nomination for the 2016 U.S. presidential election. Some interesting characters there too. Meanwhile, another governor in California this time has passed a tough new vaccination law, which would leave children banned from going to schools if they haven't been immunized. U.S. correspondent Sandy Hughes joins us now live from Los Angeles. Sandy, great to have you with us. Let's talk Chris Christie first of all. I mean, Chris Christie, Donald Trump, does this get more interesting?
As you were saying, I mean, it's a cast of thousands now, doesn't it seem like? And they're very colorful, many of them. Chris Christie, in fact, you know, the polls are looking so bad for him that he only ranks above Donald Trump as far as the latest polls go on how many Republicans would actually vote for him. You know, Paul, he was a rising star 3.5 years ago. I mean, he was the darling of the Republican Party, if you'll remember, and many wanted him to run instead of Mitt Romney against President Obama in our last election. He didn't do that. He stayed on as a second term in as a governor in New Jersey, and this second term has just not fared well for him. No, I mean, the economy in New Jersey is, you know, in the dumper, and then we had this whole traffic gate thing where people in his administration closed down parts of roads going into a bridge that crossed over into Fort Lee, New Jersey, just to get back at the Fort Lee, New Jersey mayor for not supporting Christie in the governor's race. So his polling in his own state is pretty bad. But, you know, today he was optimistic when he came out and he made his announcement in his own hometown gym in New Jersey. He didn't have any notes, or said he didn't have any prepared notes, no teleprompter, was off the cuff, kind of what he likes to do, you know, this town hall, relate to the people. He calls him, well, you know, he's bold, he's brash, he's big, and he says that he just likes to shoot from the lip, and that's what you can expect from him. He says he is the man for the job, so we'll see what happens once he gets out there campaigning. It
really isn't a case of the more the merrier for the Republicans. They're starting to look a little bit stupid. I mean, there are some real questionable characters standing now, aren't there?
There are. And, you know, once we get around to the debate season, obviously, they're going to be winnowed down because there's only a certain number who will be allowed to debate, and that'll have to do with polling numbers. But, yeah, you can't get all of those on one stage. But right now, it's a little comical.
Yeah, God, yes. All right, Sandy, let's talk immunization now in California, because this is quite a major move, isn't it? So essentially what they have literally just in the last hour or so voted through, because it needed Jerry Brown, the California governor's signature. He's just signed it. Children enrolling in school or daycare have got to be immunized against measles, whooping cough, etc., or they cannot attend a school.
That's true. There's one exception, and that's a medical exception. So if your child has had some sort of an adverse reaction to an immunization in the past, and you can prove it and get a doctor's signature, but that's really hard to do, Paul. I mean, 17,000 children in California alone in 2013-2014 school year were unvaccinated using this sort of religious or belief clause that we have had in our law, which almost all the country, every state has it except 2 others, Mississippi and West Virginia. So we are going to be having one of the toughest laws here, and you can imagine that the anti-vaccine crowd, they are outraged. They're Twittering, they're Instagramming, they're up at the Capitol protesting, and what they're saying is, well, this just means that our children will not be allowed to go to school and that they're going to have to be homeschooled instead. They're trying to make it into a constitutional thing, when really the bottom line is this is a medical issue. I mean, you know, we had this huge outbreak of measles last December, that was linked to Disneyland here in Southern California, and it spread all over the country. 170 people were sickened from that. So, and the major problem is here in California, and the major problem is in the most affluent and well-educated areas.
This is a story to watch, actually, because there are a lot of people, as you say, very outspoken on this. All right, let's have a look at the declining fortunes of some of the biggest names in food reticulation in the United States. And this is because, basically, the health industry, you know, people have given a bad rap to the KFCs of this world, and you've got the most loved, and some of the biggest names are on the most hated list.
Yeah, it's really interesting when I took a look at this list, because some of the most liked list, I mean, the top one is Chick-fil-A, which I don't, you probably don't have Chick-fil-A over there.
It's too healthy for us.
Chick-fil-A, It's kind of like an upgraded KFC, but what they do well is chicken. It's not particularly that healthy. They have taken out some artificial additives, and it certainly is not low calorie. I mean, I've tried it; it's delicious, but it's not low calorie. At the top of the hated list is McDonald's, and I have said for a long time, McDonald's just needs to do what they do best: burgers and fries. I mean, they've been all over the place, with the healthy this and the
exactly
healthy that, and they're trying, but it's not working for them. So stick with what works well for you. And KFC, of course, they even brought back Colonel Sanders, if you can imagine the old icon, to try to get millennials back. But what you were saying is true, that millennials, they are willing to pay a little bit more for food that they feel like is a little bit
absolutely,
it's more healthy. They're willing to pay for that. They don't want all these additives. They don't want artificial additives, and they want a wider range of products that they can buy.
All right, Sandy, we will watch the space. Sandy Hughes, our US correspondent, thank you very much for joining us. As I said at the time, you're in trouble when KFC bring back a dead guy.